Welcome back, everyone. It is time for a new declutter. We are continuing on with my declutter series, and today we are doing makeup brushes. So I have to say, compared to my declutter last year where I had almost 400 brushes in my collection, I feel like this isn't bad. I haven't counted them yet. We'll count at the end and see where we're at. But to me, this is a significant improvement over where I was at last year. So I've been saying with my declutter series, I've already have, I think 3 videos up. We have foundations, concealers, powders, primers. So all of those will be linked in my description box. I have this one and then 3 more coming up. And then I am going to be putting all of my declutters together into one big declutter video if you want to watch everything all at once and see kind of like a full makeup collection video. But I definitely wanted to include brushes this year because when I would do my declutter series in the past, I oftentimes wouldn't include brushes, and I'm not really sure why. And then when I did it last year and I saw just how many brushes I had, I was like, okay, so we need to do a declutter of the brushes on the regular. So that is what we'll be doing today, and I'm not sure how I want to separate these out. I might separate them just by face and eye for right now and kind of go from there. I think maybe that's where I want to start with this one. Okay, so here's what we're working with. We have the eye brushes over here and the face brushes over here. For some reason, I'm being called to do eye brushes first. So we're gonna move face brushes over and focus first on the eye brushes. Okay, so when it comes to eye brushes, to me, I would kind of have them in categories of like blending, which would be brushes kind of like so. Then we would have the shader brushes like this. And don't get angry if my brushes are dirty because I had to take a whole bunch out of my to clean pile. So there are going to be quite a few dirty brushes. And also, oh wait, I still have some in my makeup bag. Oh, we are not done yet. Okay, we do also have some brushes that are in my makeup bag. I actually just got back last night from a trip. So this is what was in my travel makeup bag. What are you stuck on? Okay, so this was in my travel makeup bag. So I'm not doing puffs or anything like that. I'm just doing brushes. So let me grab out all of my brush. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. I would have been so mad if I would have forgot this. Okay, I would like to say that this might seem excessive for a 2-night trip, but wait, this is actually Ashley's that I borrowed in one of my previous videos. So I get that this might seem a little excessive for 2 nights, but this is kind of just also like my on-the-go makeup bag. So sometimes brushes kind of accumulate in there over time, but I will say I've gotten into a pretty good routine of washing my brushes, which it might sound strange, but what I was saying last year when I was decluttering was I felt like I wasn't doing a good job washing my brushes, and I kind of just kept buying more instead. So especially because I travel so much now, typically when I come back from trips, what I do is take all the brushes out of my bag and I put them on my sink to wash, and then I grab like the freshly washed brushes that are over there, and then I pluck out, you know, the foundation, the concealer, the eye brushes, and I put them into my on-the-go makeup bag, and that way I'm always like in rotation. So that's kind of what I've been up to. So this is gonna throw me off just a little bit with my cleaning schedule, but that's okay. We'll get back on it. But these are the brushes that I've accumulated over the last probably, I'm gonna say 2 weeks in my makeup bag. So let's get them sorted. Alrighty, so here is the eye brushes that we are going to be working with. Okay, so I showed blending and then I showed shader brushes, and then I would also say my other ones is like the detail brushes. So what I mean by that is these like smaller brushes like for lower lash line, again like any sort of like detailed work, or also liner. I'm a big fan of liner, so I have a handful of different like liner brushes as well. So those are kind of my 3 categories. So from this pile, I'm going to go ahead and grab all of my blending brushes first, and we'll start with those. So we have like smaller detail brushes we'll put up here, then we have the shader brushes, and then I do feel like I have quite a big that's kind of a lot for blending brushes. I feel like I'm already having such a difficult time just looking at these because I'm like, wait, these are essentially all of my favorite brushes and brands. So I'm kind of like, okay, how many of this, maybe the same from each brand do I have? I'm kind of stumped right now of how to do this because I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of favorites in here. Is this to me looks like a shader brush. Okay, so I'm grabbing out my ones from Rephr here. Okay, do we have any of the same? Okay, so we have multiple 15s, but some are mini and some are max. And then I only have one 13. Maybe I put some 13s in the mini pile because 13 is one of my favorites. Okay, so we have 2 of the regular 15s, a max, and also a mini. I'm already starting to panic that I'm not going to actually declutter anything. Okay, I do like the mini. I'm kind of drawn towards a little bit smaller blending brushes these days, I would say. Even several years ago, I'd say like the bigger the blending brush is, the better. But I feel like with me, with where my makeup technique is, how I prefer to do my makeup, I find myself gravitating more towards these smaller blending brushes. So I'm definitely going to keep the 15 mini. And then since I have, like, my thought was maybe I could declutter the 15 max, but I still do like the size of that, but maybe I don't need to keep both of the regular 15s. So I'm going to keep one declutter one for the 15. And like I mentioned, this one is the 13 max. I'm wondering if the 13 is maybe in the detail pile because it's a little bit smaller as well. So max means it's a little bit bigger, but the 13 is one of my favorite brushes, especially for like detailed blending. So I know I'm going to keep that one. The 27, this has been one of my favorite brushes as well from Rephr for quite some time. So I do want to keep the 27. Then we have the 14. I love the size of this as well. Okay. And then we have the 01 Max. Like, to me, this looks kind of like a good hybrid brush. Like, you could use it for blending. You could use it for a shader brush as well. I clearly used it for a yellow shade. Honestly, though, okay, I'm going to keep these 3. And I'm going to declutter the 01 Max. It's just not my favorite shape. I feel like it's not one that I gravitate towards often. And so it's funny to me that you can see the yellow pigment on it because I also don't do yellow eye makeup all that often. So I feel like it kind of made sense to like grab a brush that isn't in my regular rotation when I do something outside of the norm. So great. So off to a pretty solid start, keeping 6, decluttering 2. It's going to be great. Alrighty, next up. Okay, I have a couple here from Sonia G. So just a couple. So, oh wait, I forgot one from Rephr. This is the, a 14 max. So I think I had the 14 regular. So the 14 regular versus the 14 max. You can see it's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's like bigger, but it's not like too big for me, you know? So I'm going to keep those. Great. 7 and 2. 7 and 2. Just kidding. Okay, so like I said, just a couple here from Sonia G. So let's tackle these ones. Okay, so from Sonia G, this one is the Crease Pro. And then this one here is the Blender Pro. Sonia G makes really nice brushes. I have some face brushes as well from the brand, and I just think that they're really good. Really good quality. I like the shape on both of these because, again, look, you're going to see, you know, that with the blending brushes. I don't like it when they're too big, but I feel like these are good sizes. I'm going to keep both of those. Good. One of my favorite kind of like OG brushes, this is from Bdellium Tools, and this is the, let me tell you, the 785 Tapered Blending. I have had this brush for so long, and I still think it's in great shape. And I know it is a little bit bigger. This is probably one of the biggest blending brushes I'm going to be keeping. Something about this brush, though, I don't know if maybe it's like the nostalgia of it or what, because again, I've had this brush for a long time. Bdellium Tools was such a hot commodity a few years back on YouTube. I honestly don't even know if they still sell anymore, but especially this brush was like such a hot ticket. I felt like cool-ish when I got this one, okay? Like, I don't want to declutter this one. I feel like, again, it's probably going to be one of my biggest blending brushes. I would say maybe like similar-ish is going to be, this one is from Singe Beauty. This is the EO3. I'm trying to see if I have anything else that's like No, I think that's going to be so. And again, I think the EO3 is just like a little bit smaller than the Bdellium Tools, but I'm still going to go ahead and hold on to it. I just feel like I can't declutter that one yet. And then speaking of Singe Beauty, so I have 3 in here for this style of eye brushes. So we have the EO6, and then the EO2 and the EO3. So these are the brushes from Singe. So one of my best friends actually owns this makeup brand, so I'm going to be keeping all of my Singe brushes. They started out launching brushes, and then they've moved over, like the makeup bag that you saw earlier, that's also from Singe Beauty. So I definitely want to keep all of my brushes. I would say out of here, again, the EO6, I mean, it is an eye brush. I feel like you could use it. Again, it's kind of one of those hybrids. A little, not super, like the one from Rephr is going to be much larger. So I think it's going to be better for me to have like this, again, the smaller one in my collection with the EO6. I really do love the EO2. This almost could have been put into my detailed pile as well, but you know, makeup brushes, it's not too deep, but I really do like the EO2. And then the EO3 is just kind of one of those like classic blending brushes, so I'm keeping those 3 from Singe. And then I think I have one, is it just the one here from, this is from Bdellium Beauty. This is a collaboration that Makeup Molly did back in like, I want to say like 16 or 17, something like that. We were just talking, Molly's one of my best friends. I actually just went and visited her in Michigan last month, and we were kind of talking about her Bdellium collaboration, because I remember being so crushed that I couldn't go to her launch party in New York because I couldn't afford it. But this one is the Transition Transformer. I still really like her brushes, and I feel, again, some of these brushes that you're seeing, for them to have held up through so many years, so many washes, so many uses, I really think like speaks highly of them. I know the collaboration isn't available anymore, but I still keep it around. Like, I kept her bottle of champagne that got sent out in the PR packages for like 3 years or something. Like, I was so excited for her, because this was at a time where influencer collaborations weren't super popular yet, or like there wasn't as many out there. So to see one of my friends have one was just like so exciting, but also the brushes are just fantastic. So I'm keeping that one. Oh, look, I found another one from Rephr. This is good. Oh, so this is another 15. Okay, so I decluttered one, so I am going to declutter this one as well. Okay, just because I don't need, especially like I have similar brushes still in this pile that I'm going to be keeping. So I'm going to be decluttering Rephr. Also, I've been asking people in my life, like, oh, like, is there anything beauty-wise that you want for the holidays? Almost everyone is saying makeup brushes. And I'm like, wow, great. So I have a ton of brushes and I'm going to be decluttering some. I'm like, oh, this is perfect for me. Santa Sam is still going on. I think this video, is it going up on the last day maybe of Santa Sam? So I do daily vlogs over on my Instagram, which is MarchBeautyWord, and I also do daily giveaways with them. And the giveaways are going through 12 days. The vlogs will be going until day 24. And I have some fun travel ones coming up. I actually just got back from a trip, but I do have some daily giveaways. So if you are looking to win something from Santa Sam, check it out. But this is the rest of our blending brushes. Okay. All right. So maybe let's do some BK Beauty. I think I just have the 2 here from BK Beauty. So we have the 212 and then the 211 is a little bit smaller. I really do like the BK Beauty brushes as well. I have a code with them. I believe on YouTube you can actually get 30% off. I think it's Samantha 30 if you do the YouTube shopping. So that is a great price for the BK Beauty. Again, I'm going to say the 212 is like a little big, right? Hold on. Let me look at that one compared to the Bdellium Tools. Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a little bit similar. So I'm going to declutter the 212, but I'm going to keep the 211 because I like the smaller tapered brush of this one. So I'm going to hang on to that. I see one from Colourpop. This is their E16. Colourpop, I don't know if I would say totally blows me away with their brushes. I try some of them, I like some of them, but I definitely have, and you're going to see in this video, like I have favorite brands when it comes to brushes. Singe Beauty, of course, stands out to me. BK Beauty really stands out to me. Those are kind of 2 of my, you know, especially with Singe Beauty, like I have been using their brushes since before I had my own YouTube channel, right? So they are really kind of like a tried and true brand to me. And so when I think about Colourpop, like I can't really say the same, but I will say that this E16 brush is quite nice. I've had it for a while. It came out in one of their brush sets a few years ago, and I've continued to keep it around. Now, do I have, okay, so here we go. I'm like, do I absolutely have to, since I've just said. It's similar, I would say, maybe to like the E25 from Sigma, which is a favorite of mine. My first thought was like, oh, I'll keep it. But I'm like, do you really have to keep it? I don't think that I do, since we're keeping a lot of blending brushes. Okay, since Colourpop's not a favorite, I am going to declutter that one. Another brush that I have, this is from the Sephora collection. This is their Pro Crease 24. This is a nice brush. I will say I don't have a ton of brushes from Sephora, but the ones that I do, I really enjoy. You're going to see a concealer brush coming up, but this little guy, this is such a good one. This was actually one of my, wait, was it in my travel bag now? No. I don't feel like it was in my travel bag now. I think it was in the one before, and it was waiting to get washed, so I grabbed it off of the my Bath & Vanity where I wash all my brushes. This is a good one though. I do want to keep that one from Sephora. And then, oh, look, another one from Rephr. Okay, oh, another 14. Okay, so we kept one 14, so I'm going to declutter the other 14. Okay, pretty easy. Then this one here is from Real Techniques. I do like Real Techniques brushes as well. You're going to see some other ones, both in eye and face, coming up in here. This one is their Essential Crease Brush. Again, I like that it's nice and small. This is another brush that I have had for an extremely long time. I think I got it in a set like a while back. This is a good brush. So I'm going to hold on to that one. And then we have some from Sigma. So I do have some here that are double-ended. I probably put some double-ended in the shader pile as well. Let me see. I see this one. Okay, because we have a few like this. These typically come in their palettes. They come with a double-ended brush, which is so nice. So you have a blender on one side and a shader on the other. These ones are all the same. You have the E54 on one side and then the E38 on the other. I don't feel like I need to keep all. I do like the double-ended because sometimes it's just so handy, especially when traveling. You're just like, oh, boom, I have two brushes in one. So this one is from the Beauty and the Beast. This one is from the new like cool neutrals. I think I'm going to keep these two and declutter this one. I'm not sure what collab. I feel like it came out in some collab, but not sure which collab this came out in. So I'm going to declutter that one, and I'm going to keep two. And then we have the rest of the Sigma brushes. So I know we're going to have a lot of the same, right? Okay, so these two are the E27. This is one of my favorite brushes from Sigma. This is the Detailed Blending. This I actually put in my collaboration with them. A few months ago, I came out with a favorite set with Sigma. So it has the Peach Pie palette in there. It has the Sigma, obviously the Sigma. It has the lip oil. It also has the Sigma switch where you can clean off the like pigment of your brushes on. And then I also put in two different eye brushes. There's also a liner brush that is in there. So the set is still available now on Sigma. I think it might be discounted too for the end of the year. And my code with them is Samantha, but I do love the E27. So I'm going to keep both of those. I know I have more too, because I have like other, like I still have like my sets and stuff available there, but this is what this is what we're working with. I do also see three of these. This is the E44. So this is funny because my first favorites bundle that I did with Sigma, I actually put the E44 in there. And I do still really like this brush. This is called the Firm Blender. So you have it more tapered on top, which I feel like is good for like packing on shades. But then it also is like a blender brush as well. So I feel like it's a really good multitasking brush. So I'm going to keep two and declutter one from here. And one of the OG favorites from Sigma, this one is the E25. So this is just like their original blending brush. So it's funny for me because we have the 25 here and then the 27 here. You can see that they're pretty similar, but the 25 is just a little bit bigger. So it just makes me laugh that, again, I do still like these smaller brushes, and that's why the E27 was in my favorite set. We also have the 24, which is over here, and the 24 is a little bit smaller than the 25 as well. So I know I definitely want to keep one of the 25. Okay, let me think. And the 24 is the diffuse blend. So I'm going to keep one of the 25s and then both of the 24s. Or do I need to keep both of the 24s? Because I kept both of the 27s. No, I'm going to keep, yeah. No, I think that's going to be good. I'm going to keep, let me look at the 27 actually. Okay, so this is the 27. The 24s are in the middle, 25 at the end. 27 is definitely the smallest out of these. I'm just trying to decide. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to keep both of the 25s. Declutter one of the 24s. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. This was not good. I knew this was going to be hard. I love makeup brushes. Like I knew this was going to be tough for me, but Man, okay, let's count it out. All right, so we're off to a really good start. We are keeping 26 and decluttering 9. I knew this was going to be bad. I knew this was going to be bad. But let's keep moving. Okay, so I don't have as many shader brushes as we did the blending brushes, right? I don't think we do. So let's start again. Let's see how we do with this one. Okay, start the same pattern. We'll pick up some here from Rephr. So right away, I see that I have 2 of the O2. Okay, so this is both the O2. So I'm going to keep one, declutter one. We also have the O2 Max and the O2 Mini. So once again, I'm going to say the same thing about the shader brushes, is that I prefer smaller ones. So I know that right away. So the O2 Max, like I don't mind the size of it, but I'm going to declutter that one and I'm going to keep the O2 Mini. Again, we're just on a small brush train. Small brush train? Sure. This one is the O1. So I had the O1 Max in the blending pile. Again, I feel like it could really go either way. There's some brushes that I feel that way. Also, like the BO3, I feel like that could be, honestly, with the B, I feel like maybe it's supposed to be saying blending. But again, these are both bigger ones. So I'm going to declutter those. That's pretty simple. Then we have the O1 Mini and then also the 28. The 28, okay. So again, it's funny to me that I don't have as many shader brushes because a lot of times, I will say, I use my fingers. When it comes to shimmer shades, pigments, things like that, oftentimes I use my fingers. So I'm not surprised that I don't have as many shader brushes that I've kept around that I do blending brushes, because to me, I don't feel like I can emulate blending with my fingers versus a shader brush I can. So I really honestly don't want to keep a lot of these. So I think I'm just going to keep the 28 and declutter the O1 Mini. Okay, so kept 3, decluttered 5. Pretty good. Another one from Real Techniques. This came in that same set. This is the shading brush. Again, great brush. Has lasted me a very long time. I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. I do have like a bit of an outlier here. This is from Sigma. This is their spatula brush. This is considered more of a skincare brush. I can use it for a variety of different things. But to me, I think sometimes what I was using it for was as like a base shade, I want to say. Like if I was taking something that was more of like a liquidy base or a cream base, I was using the spatula brush. Now, a part of me wants to keep it because I don't really have anything else like this. There's a couple that you're going to see in the detailed one, but I don't think that I really need it, especially with how my makeup preferences are going now. I don't think that I need it. Will I keep it for skincare? Honestly, no, probably not, because I don't think that it's necessary for me. So I'm going to declutter that one. And then, okay, so I see some from Singe Beauty. Okay, so from Singe, we have the EO1, the EO7, the EO4, and the EO1. One thing that I really liked when Singe came out with their brushes was how small they were. You're going to be so tired of hearing me say that, especially when it comes to the eye brushes, but I really do like the size of all of these. And I will say, like, these are some of my most reached for brushes when it comes to shader brushes, because I just feel like they really fit for me. I don't have like a ton of real estate on my eyelids, so I think that's another reason why I go for smaller brushes. I just feel like it makes more sense to me. So I'm going to be keeping those. And then I believe I have just the one here from BK Beauty. This one is from the Angie Houghton Flashy collection, and this is the A505. I really like this brush. The brushes like this, and like to me, this is similar to the, oh, this is actually a concealer brush. I use it for eyeshadow, though, the F70 from Sigma. This style of brush, I just feel like picks up like glitters and those kind of pigments. I think it picks them up so well. So these are some of my favorites for like really sparkly shades or anything like that. So definitely keeping the A505, which then takes me into my Sigma brushes. I feel like this was much quicker than the other one. But again, it's funny to me because the E58 is a cream concealer brush and the F70 is a concealer brush. These are both ones that I use, again, for those really sparkly eyeshadows, and I just think that they are so beautiful, so easy to use. Again, you know, it comes down to it, like, it's makeup brushes. You can use it for whatever you want. If there's a face brush and you're like, this is great for eyeshadow, go for it. Like, I mean, you know, you can do whatever you want with them. So even though these are technically concealer brushes, I love them for shadow. So I am going to be keeping those. And then we have another concealer brush. This is the F70. I think that's going to be, do I have another F70? I'm going to laugh. No. Okay. Okay, no. The F70, you know, I didn't keep a ton. No, I think just one is fine, especially because I have the F70 and the 58. So I'm going to declutter that one. This was a part of Makeup Shayla's collection back in the day. This was E14, one of the flat brushes. I was so excited for Makeup Shayla's collaboration. Again, still a nice brush, but I have kept several like this. So I'm going to declutter that one. Then we have the E54. This is what was on like those, the brushes that have like the two sides. So I do still have this one, but the E54 is also another like OG holy grail for me. So since this is just a singular brush, I'm going to keep that one as well. And then the shader lid brush, the E56, another just, this has been such a staple brush in my collection. Such a good one from Singe Beauty. I don't feel like I have a lot of others like this either. Again, just such a nice brush for those really shimmery shades. So I'm going to keep that one. I feel like I did a little bit better and I felt like this one was quicker, but let's count. Okay, from the shader brushes, we are keeping 12 and decluttering 8. That feels better. That feels better. But then we're moving into the detail brushes. There's a lot. There's a lot here as well. Again, this doesn't surprise me. These are smaller brushes, which I gravitate towards for blending, lower lash line. And then we also have like my liner brushes in here. And again, just like some smaller detailed ones. So I'm not shocked that there's a lot in this pile. So again, kind of talking about those like different ones. So this, I don't even know, it has nothing on here. There's no brand on here. There's no nothing, but it just has like the little spatula at the end. This is what I have used in the past for like actual glitter. Like if I'm applying like glitter to my lids, then I use this one. And while I'm not a big glitter girl, sometimes it's just nice to have something like this. And compared to the Sigma spatula, it's a little bit smaller as well. I'm going to keep this. It's not going to be like my most used or anything like that. Do I feel like everyone needs this? No. Do I even know where this came from? Absolutely not. But it's just one of those of like, I would like to keep it in my collection. And then I also have this little guy here, which is from e.l.f. This is their smudge. What do they call this? The smudge eye sponge. So it's just a little sponge at the end. Again, like good for like glitter and things like that. I think sometimes I was using like glitter and doing like an inner corner pop. Do I feel like I absolutely have to have it though? No, I can't remember the last time I used it. And since we're keeping one that's kind of like an outlier, let's declutter the other one. And then let me go back into kind of like repeat our pattern here. So I'm going to pick up the Rephr brushes. Okay, we got quite a few Rephr brushes. Okay, how am I going to do this? See, this is going to be so hard. Okay, I have a lot of the O3s, which are a favorite brush of mine, but do I need to keep this many? So I have 4. I have 4 of the O3s. That's not necessary. We don't need to keep this many. This is great for the lower lash line. Beautiful brushes, beautiful quality. I'm going to keep 2. How about that? We'll keep 2 declutter 2. Okay. So I have 3 of the 13s, another one of my favorite brushes from Rephr. A little bit bigger than the 3s. Still great for lower lash line. Also really great for like detailed crease work. So I'm going to keep 2, declutter 1. I have another of the 14 mini. I think I kept this one, right? And then this little one here is the 23. I love the 23 brush. Why I don't have more of the 23, I don't know. This is such a great brush for like either liner, like really good smudgy liner, lower lash line. I love the 23. I'm really upset I only have one. But I'm going to keep the 23. I'm going to declutter the 14 mini. I think that I kept one. So I'm going to declutter that one. All right, then we have some more from Colourpop. So the E30, the E21, and the E20. The E30 I'm going to declutter. This is not my favorite brush for a winged liner. It's almost like it's a little bit too thick. Like you'll see the ones that I really love from Sigma. This one to me is like, it's too thick, but it's also like too flimsy at the same time. It's not my favorite for liner. I do really like the E21 though. I like this kind of domed for the lower lash line or also for crease work. And this one to me is a pretty firm dome. Like I'm looking at the other ones, like it's a little bit thicker than like the E30 from Sigma. I think I am going to keep that one. I also really do like the E20. It's similar to the one from Makeup Molly, which is called the Detail Dazzler. You can see that those are pretty similar, but the Colourpop is a little bit smaller. I'm going to keep it because it's small. I just can't help myself. Okay, I'm going to keep both of those. Like I mentioned, the one from Makeup Molly and Doll 10. This is the Detail Dazzler. I think that this is a great brush. I love this little brush. Again, inner corner, shade work, anything like that. It's great. One of my faves. Going to keep that one. One here from Billion Dollar Brow. So this is technically what you would use for brows. Again, I have a lot of winged liner brushes. The ones from Sigma really are my favorite. I'm like trying to look and see how many I have. Okay, it looks like maybe I have like 4 from Sigma, so I'm going to declutter the Billion Dollar Brow. I just have one from BK Beauty, but this is one of my favorite ones. This is also from the Angie Hot and Flashy collection, the A504. This is, I feel like I maybe could have put this into the blending pile as well, but I really like this size. I feel like this is, for me, this is such a good multi-use brush, and that's kind of like what I look for, especially because I do travel so much. I am on the go so much. I can use this for crease. I can use this for lower lash line. So I love a good multi-purpose brush like this. So I'm going to keep that one. Find a little guy from Rephr. This is the 34. So this could be a very sharp wing liner brush. You're going to see my other wing liners. I'm like, can you even see that? My other wing liners are a little bit more, I'm going to use the word traditional, but I don't really know if that's the correct word. I do kind of like how fierce this little guy is, though. I don't have anything else like this in my collection, so I'm going to keep that one. And then I found this brush that has no brand name on it, no anything, no nothing. I do like the size of this, but I feel like it's going to be similar enough to ones that I've kept, and since I have no idea what brush this is, I'm going to go ahead and declutter that. Then we have some left here from Sigma. So I've been talking about my winged liner brushes, so clearly I love them. These are all of the E65, the small angle. This is what I love for liner. I do winged liner quite a bit. I like to do it with either a gel eyeliner or a shadow. And this to me is my perfect liner brush. This is what it's included in my Sigma Favorites collab. If you are looking for an easy way to get winged liner, like this brush never fails me. I get asked all the time what brush I use for my winged liner. It is the E65. Do I have to keep 4? I mean, I want to because I use them literally all of the time. And like, if I cannot find, this is one of those brushes that I feel like you can't, you know, I can't find my bigger blending brush. Okay, fine, I'll use a smaller one. Even on like my lower lash line, I'm like, oh, I can't find my small pencil brush. It's okay, I can use the bigger one, but like, and also with the small angle, like I can use this for liner on my lower lash line too. I feel like I would keep 3 for sure. Do I need to keep 4? Especially because we kept like the little sharp one from Rephr. I feel like it would be smart to only keep 3. Like this little sparkly one is cute. The other ones are kind of like the regular ones too. Okay, I'm going to keep 3 and declutter 1. And honestly, I'm kind of cheating because I know it's in my set and I know I have more of my collab sets at home. So it's like if I need one, I can grab one. You see what I did there? Okay, so these are all like variations of pencil brushes. So we have the E30, which is kind of like the OG pencil brush. The E24, the Precision Firm Blender, so a little bit bigger. And then this one is the detailed pencil from Sam's collab. Sorry, Sam Ravendall. Be confusing since my name is also Sam. Okay. I do feel like I kept a few in like the blender one, more of this size of the E24, but I love the pencil brushes. I know I kept a few like from Rephr as well, but I am going to keep the E30 and then the detailed one from Sam's collaboration, and I'll declutter the E24. Even though it's small and great, I know I kept a few other ones as well. And then lastly for the details, so we have another one from Sam's collection, the detailed shader, and then this one from Sigma, the E46. This is the shader inner corner. I love how small these are. Again, great brushes for me, for my eyelids. These work really well. Or it's a good, you know, sometimes I do a look where like I put a shimmer shade all over my lid and then I put like a lighter shade right in the middle. These are the kind of brushes that I go for that, and I just really like them. So I'm going to keep both of these. Who knew the brush declutter was going to be so hard? Honestly, I think if you know me, you would probably know that it would be hard, but man, this was a doozy. Well, here we go. So keeping 18, decluttering 10, which puts us at keeping 56 eye brushes and decluttering 27. Not great if you love big declutters, but that's where we're at, and I'm going to be happy with it. I love brushes, okay? I can't help myself. I love brushes. So let's move on to face brushes, which I do think will be equally as hard. I'm staring at the pile now. I wish you could see my face. It looks tortured. Okay, I'm like, how to sort these? Maybe do by like foundation, concealer. Yeah, maybe we should do that. It's like me having to give myself pep talks during this whole video. It's just really something. So I ended up breaking it into 3 different piles. So one pile is like unclassified. That's what we're going to call that pile. And then we have like bronzer and blush over here. And then we have like foundation, concealer, powder over here. Okay. So that's going to be the biggest pile. We'll come back to you. Let's start though with bronzer and blush. We definitely have a lot going on here. I love bronzer. I always want to say like I'm not a blush girl. I think I have to then follow it up with yes I am. I always end up having a lot of blushes and I have a lot of blush brushes. So we need to do something about this. Where to begin? I honestly wish that I had a second camera on me so you could be watching like how uncomfortable I am. Like I'm like fidgeting a ton. Like I keep like messing with like my sweater. Okay. I'm sure that I cut this, but I literally just said, let's think about this. And then I stared at the brushes like frozen. Like I couldn't do anything. Okay. I see a couple here from BK Beauty. So these are going to be bronzer brushes. I love this brush though. This is the 103. This is a fantastic bronzer brush. Just really one of my favorites. I love the shape of it. I love the feel of it. Do I need 2? Yes. Yeah, that's the answer to that. So we're going to keep both of those. Great. And then also from BK Beauty, I'm kind of upset I only have one of these. This is the A507, again from Angie Hot and Flashy. This is a great blush brush. For me with blush brushes, I prefer something that has a little bit more of an angle like this. So this to me is a great blush brush. Whereas like with the bronzer, I like something that's more either like round or tapered is what I would say for a bronzer brush. And I do like something honestly a little bit bigger. I used to be into the Big Daddy brushes. Who remembers Big Daddy brushes? But for me, this is kind of like the perfect size. So the BK Beauty A507, that's one of my favorite blush brushes. Great. Off to a strong start. Another one of my favorite blush brushes is this one here from Rephr. This is the 04. I love this one. I love how small this is. I feel like there used to be a brush maybe from, I want to say like Morphe and Jaclyn Hill had a brush like this for blush, and it was just such a favorite of mine. And then Rephr came out with this one and I was like, oh heck yeah. I do have a code with Rephr, so I'll have a link to, I feel like for my description box, I'm probably going to put links to the brands in them, but I do have a code with Rephr. Like if you use the link, you'll get a discount as well. But this to me, I love this blush brush. Do I only have one? Yes. Okay, great. So we're going to keep that. I like literally don't know what to get rid of. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm getting rid I don't know if I'm getting rid of any of these. Okay, one of my favorite bronzer brushes. This is from Singe Beauty. So this one is the Powder Sculpt, the F44. Okay, I love this. I love this as a bronzer brush. I think this was this in my makeup bag? I think this might have been the one that was in my current makeup bag. I love this one. It's a little bit bigger, like compared to the BK Beauty. It's a little bit bigger, but I like how like kind of flat it is on the sides. I just think it's such a beautiful bronzer brush. So I definitely need to keep that one. And then a new one that Sigma came out with fairly recently. This one is the Soft Sculpt, the F11. I love this for bronzer. I like that it's a little bit smaller. Again, for bronzer brushes, I don't mind going bigger, but then something about this brush, and also every brush in this line, the like Soft Sculpt line from Sigma, one of their newer brush releases, every brush is beautiful. The concealer brushes, the foundation brushes, this bronzer brush. I mean, it is just, yes, this is one of my most used bronzer brushes right now. So definitely will be keeping that one as well. Good. Oh, speaking of the Soft Sculpt, so there's the blush brush as well. So this is the F43, the Soft Angled Cheek. Yes, beautiful. Again, angled brush, which is what I prefer for blush. Some people might prefer this for bronzer. Some people might prefer this for foundation. I mean, really totally up to you. For me, this is what I prefer for blush, but I like that this one has like a little oomph as well. For me, kind of the OG blush brush that I would use from Sigma is the large angled contour. This is the F40. I mean, I started using the F40 again before my YouTube channel. It's just a great brush. For me, I think I'm going to declutter one of those, and then I'm going to keep one F40, and then definitely going to keep the F43. Definitely a line to check out is that soft sculpt line. Another one I have from Sigma, this is the contour slash blush. This is the F53 Air. For me, when it comes to cream products, I like something that's a little bit more like dense like this, like not as fluffy, if you will. So as of right now, I don't use cream like blush and bronzer a ton, but it is, I want to keep a brush around for that reason. And a lot of times when I do use those kind of products, I am using makeup sponges instead, but I do feel like it's important to have a brush like this as well in my collection. That's kind of like, to me, kind of specific for the liquids. Again, this would make a great foundation brush, whatever you wanted to use. For me, I use it for liquid blush and bronzer, so I'm going to keep that. So I have one in my collection. This is very random. This is from Lawless Beauty, and this is what they classify as a foundation brush. I use it for blush, and I think that it's beautiful. I know that might sound weird because I'm like, I love blush brushes that have an angle, and this one to me is very clearly like a good foundation brush. For some reason, I love it for blush. I love it for blush. I carry it for blush. I use it for blush. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, do I need to keep it? But I'm like, yeah, I do. I do. I do. For people who love like massive declutters, you're gonna hate me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're gonna hate me so much in this video. Like, I'm sorry. And then I have this one, which is from Eco Tools, and this is their Define. I love this for, honestly, blush and bronzer. Do I just love blush and bronzer, and do I just not have a preference when it comes to brushes? Possibly, but I love this for both. I would say that I use it for bronzer a little bit more. A little bit more. Not that it's super similar. It's not. Right? Like, it's definitely got more of that like tulip shape to it, but it's just such a nice brush. Eco Tools has some sneaky good brushes too. All right. All right. And then moving on, these are my brushes from Singe Beauty. So we have the F05, the F06, and the F01. So the F05 and the F01, right? These are what I use the most. This is what I mostly use for bronzer, and then this is what I mostly use for blush. This I think would make like a pretty highlight brush. I just don't really, I don't use highlight like basically ever, right? I decluttered the majority of my highlighters. These to me, so I like the Singe Beauty brushes with the eyes because I love how small they are. I do like the smaller face brushes as well, but sometimes they can be like a little bit too small for me. Like this to me, I could use this as blush or bronzer. I chose it for bronzer because it's a little bit bigger, and that's why I kept this one for blush, but I wouldn't mind even if it was a little bit bigger. I'm going to keep both of them. But you can kind of see, like, even this is one of my smaller blush brushes, and it's still quite a bit bigger. But I do want to keep those. The only one I am going to declutter is the F06, and that's just because I don't have a use for it myself. I think if I used highlight, I would definitely use this one a lot more. But I think that I'll be okay to declutter that one. So out of the blush and bronzers, I decluttered 2. Okay. I decluttered 2. I'm keeping 13. Wow. 13 to 2. Oh my gosh. Great, great, great. Let's move over to these detail brushes. So this is kind of the section that I want to focus in on because a lot of these, I just don't really feel like I have a great use for them. So off the bat, I'm kind of looking at these ones from Sigma Beauty. So we have the HD Bronze, the F29, we have the soft angled 60 brush, and then the tapered cheek, the F36. These are just not really my favorites for like anything. Again, bronze, cheek, this to me would make a really good highlight brush as well. I just don't use highlight. These to me are pretty easy declutters. Also, this one here from NARS, this came with some of their blushes that they came out with recently. I'm pretty sure I was able to link it at Sephora once. I just don't love it. I feel like it's kind of scratchy. I believe that I used it in a Get Ready With Me at one point, and I wasn't like a huge fan of it. So again, kept a lot of blush and bronzer brushes. I'm going to declutter that one. Then I have, I think these are both from Rephr here. So this came in a collab. No, the AA01 came in a collab. And then this was like around the holiday time, they came out with this brush. just again, brushes, I just don't really use these style of brushes a lot, right? So for me, these ones are pretty easy to declutter as well. Good brushes, beautiful brushes. Brushes are one of those things that I can easily pass on. I can clean these brushes, again, because I had so many people in my life say they need makeup brushes. Great, I got you, boo. I'll clean these brushes up, I'll put them in something nice, and I will give it to you. Okay, and then, so next up I have a couple here from Singe. So we have the FO4 and the FO7. Again, they're just kind of like, again, this I think would make a pretty highlight brush. The FO4, this is going to be good for me if I was someone who like kind of wanted to like paint my foundation on. I feel like that would be a good brush for that. They're just, I put these in this particular pile because I just don't really have steps in my makeup routine that I use these for. So I think I'm going to declutter both of those. And then I'm looking at these ones from Eco Tools. Again, just kind of same thing. Like I just don't use... Like I just never really use these kind of brushes. So this is the Skin Perfecting and the Wonder Color Finish. Like I just don't use them. So I'm actually going to declutter that whole pile. That makes me feel a little bit better. Makes me feel a little better. So that's 10 brushes. 10 brushes right there I'm decluttering because I just simply don't use them. Alrighty. And then I know this one is going to be difficult as well. I feel like it's has something about foundation brushes, powder brushes, especially concealer brushes. I love concealer, so, you know, there's that. So I know that this one is going to be a bit of a doozy. So I'm like, where do I even... Okay, where do I even start? And it's so funny to me because I do use makeup sponges a lot that I'm like, how did I get this many? Okay. For me... Where should I start? Okay, one of my favorite concealer brushes. We'll start here. One of my favorite concealer brushes. This is from Sephora. This is their 57 brush. I have had this brush for such a long time. I love this brush. It's one of my top recommended concealer brushes. I think I bought it because Jessica Braun recommended it like years and years ago. It continues to be a favorite of mine. I've washed it so many times. Me and the 57 have been through a lot together. It's amazing. I love it. Got to keep it. Another favorite concealer brush, again from the Angie Hot and Flashy BK Beauty line. This is the A506. This is a very viral, hyped about brush, and I think that it's amazing. I love the like kitten paw shape of it. I just think that it's fantastic. Definitely got to keep that one. I had mentioned before the Sigma like soft focus line. So this one is the soft angled concealer, the F72. Freaking love this brush. I have talked about this so much recently in some of my like try to get ready with me videos. Love the shape of this. Love the size. Love this for concealer. Big yes for me. One that's kind of similar to that is from Singe Beauty. So this is the FO2. You can see this I grabbed from my vanity because she needs to be washed. This is another great one. I use it all the time for concealer. I love concealer. Just so everyone knows, like I love concealer. So I need to have like good concealer brushes. Those are some of my top ones. I also really love from Sonia G. This is the soft concealer brush. Oh my gosh, this is such a nice one as well. Again, it is very soft. This is a very high quality. I like that it's a little bit smaller as well. Just a great one. So definitely keeping that one. I know like some that are over here. So this one is from Moda Brushes. This is what I used to use for concealer a ton back in the day. What is the name of this? Super Crease. I think this is considered an eye brush, the crease brush. I would use it for concealer and loved it. Not so much anymore. I feel like I have my other concealer brushes that I love. So I am going to declutter that one. And then this one here is from Makeup by Mario. This is the F5. So again, concealer, powder, something along those lines. Not my favorite, a little scratchy. So I'm going to declutter that one. I loved this one from Real Techniques. This is the Deluxe Concealer Brush. Again, I feel like I bought this way back in the day because Katie or Luster Lux recommended it. I will say though, I don't feel like I use it for concealer as much. Kind of my first thought was like, oh, I'm going to keep it for sure. And I'm like, I don't really think that I need to. I feel like my 5 concealer brushes that I've kept so far, those are what I normally go for. So I'm going to declutter that one. This one here is from Rephr. This is the 36. You can see that this has been very used, very loved, needs to be washed. This to me, you know, we're kind of like similar-ish to the Sigma or to the Singe, like in like shape kind of thing. Maybe kind of similar to the BK Beauty. I feel like I use the other ones more. I don't reach for the 36 as much. So actually, I think that I can declutter that because we're definitely keeping a lot of concealer brushes. Again, kind of along those lines. Oh, we have another, you know what? I'm okay to keep the F72. I really am. I'm going to keep 2 of these. This is a really good brush. I'm going to keep that one. And then we also have the BO one. Again, I probably should have put this in the other unclassified one. I'm going to declutter that one. I do have another one from Sonia G. Again, this is the Detail Pro. So to me, I think this is more of an eye brush. I use it for face, but it's kind of one of those in-betweens that like, I feel like it's too big for eyes, but not big enough for face. So it's beautiful. It's such a nice brush, but I don't think that I need it. So I'm going to declutter that one. This brush I have loved for a really long time. Again, another one from Real Techniques. This is the setting brush. I do really enjoy this for setting powder. A lot of times I do use a sponge, or I'll use, I feel like there's another brush in here. I really like this brush from Singe Beauty for powder as well, but both of these I think are great for powder. This one is the F08 Precision Powder, yeah, from Sigma. I love this to set on the under eyes, but I still really do love my Real Technique. So not super similar, but I'm going to keep both of these as powder brushes. I feel like I just blacked out. I don't even know what just happened there, but okay, some more from Real Techniques. This one, I'm going to declutter this. I think I actually used to use this as a blush brush back in the day, or maybe like a bronzer brush. This is the 400, the blush brush. I want to say I used it for bronzer though. Just don't really use it as much anymore. I'm going to declutter that one. And then this is what I would use for powder from Real Techniques, and it's just the powder brush. Really nice brush. It is pretty dense, but I would say I use the one from BK Beauty more. So I'm going to declutter that one, and I'm going to keep my one from BK Beauty, and this is the 105. This is like if I have like a powder foundation and I really do want to like press it in. This is the one that I use. So I'm going to keep the one from BK Beauty. I have a couple of dual use brushes in here. One from Makeup by Mario. This is the F4. And then one from It Cosmetics. So actually the Makeup by Mario, I use this brush a lot. I took this out of my makeup bag. This is what I was using the whole time in Reno. So I have foundation on one side and then concealer on the other. So I really like this brush. I'm going to keep that one. But the one from It Cosmetics, I feel like I can declutter this one. I don't use it as much. It is a nice concealer brush, but it's kind of similar to like the one from Real Techniques that I decided to declutter. So, and the foundation brush is like almost a little bit too small. Like looking at it, I think I use this as blush instead. So I'm going to declutter that one. Another one of those Sigma soft focus brushes. This is the F48 Soft Coverage. This is beautiful for foundation. Just like no streaks. Like this is so nice. I just took this out of my wash pile, so you can see it's looking pretty clean. But I really do love this one from Sigma. So that's definitely a keep for me. I know also from Sigma, I have two of the F47 brushes. This is the multitasker brush. Okay, everybody I know loves this brush so much. I gave it out in like some goodie bags one year. People loved it. We had these in the gift bags for the Creators and Friends holiday party last year. And even the people who were not in beauty that were there, like the creators that aren't niche in beauty, they were like, what was that brush? And this is so nice. Like it made me really happy because I felt like people really got introduced to Sigma and how great their brushes are. So the F47 is just a fantastic brush. I think I'm going to keep one, declutter one, and you can kind of use this for a variety of things. You can use it for, it's again, the multitasker. You can use it for foundation, which is typically what I use it for. You can use it for cream products, anything like that. And I think because I have some of the other ones that I really do love from Sigma, both for concealer and foundation, I'm good to keep one, declutter one on those. Also from Sigma, we have the F46. This is the angled foundation brush. This is another one that I just washed pretty recently. Okay, this is a nice brush. I'm like, what do I have left? One from Rephr, I have these two from BK, and the one from Sonia. I would say that I like the soft focus brush a little bit more. So I'm going to continue to keep this one. I will declutter the other one. And then from Rephr, this BO2. Again, it kind of like reminds me a little bit in shape of the Sigma, but I like the Sigma more. So I'm going to declutter the one from Rephr. I have the two 101s from BK Beauty. This is a very popular brush, a very viral brush. I think it's great. You can see one obviously really needs to be cleaned. One is like a little bit needs to be cleaned. A lot of it needs to be cleaned. But I do love the 101. I do want to keep both of these. I would say like if I had another one of this one from Sigma, I think I would keep both. But kind of like the Sigma concealer brush that I'm keeping both. Like some of my favorites like that, when one's like being washed or in the lineup to get washed, I want the other one. So I'm going to keep both the 101s. And then lastly, this one from Sonia G is so nice. This is the Jumbo Base. Yeah, I have to keep this one. Great quality, super soft, doesn't leave your foundation streaky at all. It's just a beautiful brush. So, okay. Maybe not great, but we did it. we did something. All right, actually not too bad. So we are keeping 15 and decluttering 12. That's not terrible, right? For foundation brush. I feel like that's pretty good, but honestly, let's pull them all out, right? Let's pull them all out. Okay, looking at my totals, I'm not super upset. So this is my declutter pile. We're decluttering 51. That's a lot of brushes. These are my keep. So this is everything going back home with me. I'm keeping 84. That's still a lot of brushes, don't get me wrong. But not having over 100 brushes for me somehow is like a win. I thought, I mean, obviously I'm close to 100, but I'm not there and I'm not over 100. To me, that seems like a win, especially coming from someone who had 400 brushes last year. I feel like this is still pretty positive. If you've heard me say that my 2025 goal is to keep my makeup collection tidy and organized. So one thing that I've been doing has been filming from my friend's house and essentially bringing my entire makeup collection here and only taking back what I keep for my declutters. So that's why everything is in here, because this is what will be going back to my apartment with me. And then everything else I'm keeping here, cleaning them, you know, letting my friends obviously choose whatever they want, putting things into giveaways and all the things, which again for brushes is pretty easy to do. But 84 brushes, I'm pretty happy with this. This was a hard declutter for me. I've been sitting here for a while now. But I hope it was enjoyable to watch. We have a few more declutters to go before we come to the grand finale, the Big Daddy declutter of them all. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.